Tonight, a growing mystery in the night sky over Colorado. Fleets of unidentified drones reportedly flying in grid patterns, even spotted by law enforcement.
I had what I believe to be a drone pass over me, and it was headed east towards Yuma.
Some residents giving chase.
We got close to one, and it descended. I swear it got closer to us, and then the light shut off.
So far, this video they shot is the best evidence to emerge. The sightings reported across 5 counties in Colorado, as many as 30 drones flying in formation, some with wingspans estimated at 6 feet, with the FAA saying they don't have any concrete information to act on. On Facebook, some residents asking, can we shoot them down if over our property? But authorities warn shooting at them is dangerous and unlawful, and at this point, while the drones may be mysterious, they don't appear malicious.
New details from that deadly shooting inside a Texas church. The service was being live streamed when a man there at the top opens fire, killing 2 people before he was shot by a member of that church. Jack Wilson is that hero congregant.
Tonight, 6 seconds of terror, capturing the moments lives were shattered and dozens more saved. Jack Wilson seen here firing a single shot, killing the gunman before he could harm anyone else.
I don't feel like I'm a hero. I was doing what I needed to do to protect the people of the congregation.
The gunman opened fire, hitting and killing 67-year-old Richard White and 64-year-old Tony Wallace. Authorities say the shooter, seen here from a prior arrest, has had run-ins with law enforcement in the past, but they have not figured out a motive for the attack. Kananen is described as a transient, but why he would take aim at innocent people at a church is a mystery.
Fox News alert breaking right now in Baghdad, where supporters of the Iraqi militia are inside the U.S. Embassy compound after breaking down the front gate.
The protesters smashing a main door and setting fire to a reception area. Trey Yinks is live in the Middle East with more on what sparked the protest. Trey, we know that the Iraqi militia had vowed to retaliate for the U.S. military airstrikes. Is that right?
Todd, Jillian, good morning. That's right. What we understand right now is that hundreds of Iraqi demonstrators have stormed the U.S. embassy in Baghdad. All of this in response to U.S. airstrikes in Iraq and Syria on Sunday that killed at least 25 members of the Iranian-backed Iraqi Shia militia group Kataib Hezbollah. What we know so far about the embassy storming today, there's a glass barrier right now between U.S. embassy guards and those supporters of the Iraqi militia group.
This is the house in Beirut that Carlos Ghosn is said to have fled to. But there's no sign of him here, just lights, and the security guards outside saying he's not at home. Many Lebanese view the former Nissan CEO as a successful businessman and as a symbol of their country's large diaspora. But in Tokyo, the unexpected turn of events has sparked outrage. Ghosn's escape to Lebanon is the latest stunning twist in a roller coaster journey that saw him fall from boardroom to detention center. Here, he spent more than 100 days in Spartan conditions far removed from his sometimes extravagant lifestyle. The automotive tycoon stands accused of underreporting his salary to the tune of $85 million.
Arriving at a Cypriot court, a British woman who says she was gang raped by 12 Israeli tourists. And yet today, she was the one on trial, convicted of the crime of public mischief, effectively found guilty of fabricating a horrendous attack. The woman, who comes from Derbyshire and can't be named, was on a working holiday at the resort of Ayia Napa in July. She says she was repeatedly assaulted by the group. Police arrested the tourists, but then the woman signed a statement retracting her accusation. The men were allowed to go home. But during the trial, she told the court she had been raped that it was the Cypriot police who pushed her to retract those claims.
Monday morning started with hundreds gathering outside the court in Durman, Sudan's largest city, eagerly following what was happening behind the heavily guarded walls. Some demanded the death penalty for the 41 National Security Service officers. They were charged with the manslaughter of Ahmed al-Khair, a school teacher in the eastern state of Kassala. In court, the judge brought the more than 12 weeks of trial to an end.
The defendants are facing charges of manslaughter, which falls under Article 130, which carries the death penalty. The first defendant to the 27th will all receive the death penalty. The 31st and 33rd are also sentenced to death. Defendants 29 and 30 are cleared of charges, while the rest are sentenced to jail.
The verdict was welcomed by Ahmed al-Khair's family. His torture and death in custody provoked anger in schools all over Sudan.
Declared persona non grata, several top Mexican and Spanish diplomats were given 72 hours to leave Bolivia amid a growing diplomatic spat involving the country's new interim president.
This group of Mexican and Spanish government representatives has seriously damaged the sovereignty and dignity of the people and the government of Bolivia. We cannot tolerate the abuse and arrogance of those who are clearly trying to cover up and protect criminals.
The dispute centers around 9 former Bolivian officials who sought refuge in the Mexican embassy after they were charged with sedition and terrorism by the country's acting government last month.
Bristling with weapons and confidence, these Taliban fighters want to show they rule the road, a sign of strength as their leaders talk peace with the United States. Like much of Afghanistan, the Taliban's white flag hangs over this part of Ghazni province. These foot soldiers say they support the idea of a peace deal, but they're against demands for a ceasefire until all foreign forces leave their country, an unrealistic condition.
Traders in the PK5 neighborhood market count their losses and rebuild. While reconstruction work starts, more trouble is threatened. Vigilantes who are protecting traders in the community are no longer welcome.
The traders have set up a crisis committee which is empowered to declare war on the armed groups. We gave them a 48-hour ultimatum to surrender their weapons and reintegrate into the community. If they don't surrender, we will resume hostilities with them. Government authority has to be restored in the PK5 neighborhood.
That threat is what's making people here nervous. Fighting started on Tuesday when an armed militiaman was killed when he refused to pay a shopkeeper for an item he wanted.
Thousands of people continue to march on the streets of Chile. The frustrations of demonstrators are rooted in social inequalities many believe are getting worse. One of the most iconic manifestations of this discontent is an indigenous banner belonging to Chile's Mapuche people. Elisa Loncon is a Mapuche scholar and one of the original designers of the flag. She says the history of this marginalized group is what's made the flag an emblem of resistance among Chile's demonstrators.
We should recognize that this struggle is about diverse sectors that have been excluded: women, young people, sexual diversity, migrants, who are all part of a reality in Chile that has been denied.
The flag has begun to appear more and more at street protests.